Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Michelle Fondin and I'm the author of the new book, Twin Flame Romance, The Journey to Unconditional Love, available now in paperback, Kindle, and Audible books. And if you're currently reading or listening to Twin Flame Romance and you leave a review on Amazon, once that review is up on Amazon, take a screenshot, email me, and I will give you a free Audible copy of Chakra Healing for Vibrant Energy, Exploring Your 7 Energy Centers with Mindfulness, Yoga, and Ayurveda. And if you would like to book a Twin Flame reading with me, 30, 60, or 90 minutes, go ahead and email me at michellefondinauthor@gmail.com. You can also hit up my website, fondinwellness.com. Thank you so much for those of you that have already joined Patreon. I'm so excited for our podcasts in the month of December. December is my birth month, so I'm really excited to launch this new year for me, the birth year for me, doing these very specific podcasts for my patrons. I'm so excited to do it. It's going to be fun Q&A, picking cards and being able to call out my patrons specifically on the podcast. If you have not yet joined, www.patreon.com/Michelle S. Fondin, with a pledge of $10 or more a month, you get those podcasts, at least the Q&A, $25 a month and up. You get 2 podcasts. One is a guided meditation to get you and your twin closer to reunion. And the other one is the Twin Flame Q&A with mini readings for each patron. Welcome back, you guys. Look, it's been a heavy week. I understand that. Today we're going to explore, and this topic has actually been on my list for a very long time. We're talking 6 months it's been on my list to do. And we are going to explore our shadow energy. So this has been a really heavy week. Now, just be mindful. I post this video today because all of this week thus far, and it is only Wednesday, so this kind of started in the course of the weekend, Friday, Saturday-ish, and moving forward to today, I have been receiving a lot of panic emails from my clients who I read for, and of course, viewers like you. A lot of panic emails, especially from the Divine Feminines in the collective. So I would say that while everyone needs to look at their shadow energies, the Divine Feminines in particular this week, if you're watching this on November 13th, 2019, the Divine Feminines really need to be able to put this stuff that I'm about to say into perspective. Now, if you're a Divine Masculine and this resonates with you, awesome. If you're not even a Twin Flame and this resonates with you, then awesome. So one thing, please, you guys, please keep this in mind. There are 3 things on Earth and in the universe that are happening right now as we speak, okay? So this will help to bring you back to your center. Because there's this outburst of panic, I really want you guys to keep these things in perspective, okay? We're human. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And being that we're having a human experience, even though we probably should work on transcending anything that has to do with planetary influences, the truth of the matter is most of us haven't gotten there yet. 3 things are happening currently. The first thing is, last night we just had a really strong full moon. That was last night. Okay, or yesterday morning Pacific time. So just depending on where you are on the globe, it was November 12th. That's the first thing. Second thing, we are in Mercury retrograde until November 20th, 2019. So as you know probably, Mercury retrograde slows down communication, stops communication, muddles up the communication, and all of that jazz. Full moon is about purging. So you might notice if you're really aligned with your meditation practice and you're getting aligned with the lunar cycles, if you are a woman who is menstruating still, You might notice that your period will come at the full moon. And the reason for that is it's the purging, right? It's getting rid of the uterine lining that you no longer need. And so full moon is a lot about purging, getting rid of things that you no longer need. Then we have the Mercury retrograde, which is about interruptions in communication. Then we're in Scorpio season, you guys. We are in the solar sun sign, Western astrology. We are in Scorpio season. Okay, so if your sun sign is Scorpio, this is your birthday time. Now, you do not have to have a birthday in Scorpio season to be affected by the fact that we are in Scorpio season. The season of Scorpio is a very dark period. Now, it's a dark period for a reason. It's all about introspection, going to the darkest places of you. Now, it's funny, Scorpio likes to explore those dark and hidden places. And it's kind of fun for Scorpio to explore those dark and hidden places. But if you are not a Scorpio, you can be deeply affected by this. And if you are a Scorpio, you can be deeply affected by this. But you need to know that with these three things that are happening at the same time, it can feel very, very, very intense. It can feel like it's way too much to handle. And what God and the universe, what they are asking you to do is take this time to go within. Take this time to greet your shadow energy. Take this time to shake hands with your shadow energy, whether you want to or not. As Rumi said, the wounded place is where the light enters. The wounded place is where the light enters. And there was another quote, I thought it was by Hafiz, but I found the quote where it was by Shakespeare, I guess. I had heard it when I was at a Healing the Heart seminar through the Chopra Center. This was a long time ago. This was back in 2013. And I think it is, when I looked it up, it came out as Shakespeare, but it's about going to your heart, knocking there, and asking your heart what it doth know. And that is really the essence of moving into shadow energy. Is the one thing with shadows, and if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'll clarify a little bit. Your shadow energy, your shadow side, is really where your wounds and fears reside. It could be any wounds or fears. It could just be the fear of being alone, or the fear of not being enough, or the fear of not being loved, or the fear of not being worthy, or the fear of not being successful, being a failure. There are so many fears that we have accumulated over our lifetime and lifetimes that oftentimes the best way we know how to cope with our fears, or a shadow side, is to run from it or have other coping mechanisms such as eating, drinking, sex, porn, whatever, or just having a distraction. Could be going shopping. It could be just calling a billion friends and never having a quiet moment to yourself. And what Spirit wants here in this particular season, and what Spirit seems to want for the Divine Feminine Collective right now, is for us to move toward our shadows, is for us to move toward our shadow side and greet it. Like, greet that side of yourself. Shake hands with that side of yourself. Walk into the darkness that is you. We're dynamic and dualistic beings. As if you've read Twin Flame Romance, you have read some of that. If you've read Chakra Healing for Vibrant Energy, you've read some of that. If you've read The Wheel of Healing with Ayurveda, you have read some of that. I do write about this dualistic nature that is us as humans. We're not all light. There is some darkness. We are not all good. There is some bad. That is the nature of who we are on planet Earth. That's just who we are. Now, the problem with shadow is that when you ignore it, it comes to you like a persistent 2-year-old and tugs at your pants or knocks at the door. It's not going to go away just because you ignore it. Your shadow wants to be acknowledged. Your shadow side wants to be acknowledged. And when you acknowledge it, when you sit down with it, when you shake hands with it, when you say, "What do you want?" it tends to dissipate. Hence the quote by Rumi, "The wounded place is where the light enters." It's the shadow side of you doesn't have the full force you think it might have once you look at it and you become friends with it. And it's really funny because I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner. I'm an Ayurvedic teacher. There are 3 mind-body types in Ayurveda. And check out the Wheel of Healing with Ayurveda. I'll put it below. The Wheel of Healing with Ayurveda, an easy guide to a healthy lifestyle, because the dynamics are really interesting, especially for this topic in particular. So with Ayurveda, there are 3 mind-body types based on the 5 elements. So space, air, fire, water, and earth. The 3 mind-body types are Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Now, what's interesting is that knowing your primary mind-body type is the basis for your healing, because that's your genetic makeup. That's where your strengths and weaknesses are. And it's by knowing that is the blueprint towards your healing. The funny thing is, when I'm teaching students who come to learn about Ayurveda, when I'm teaching these students, and I teach them, look, if Vata is your primary dosha, here are your strengths and here are your weaknesses. Well, students don't generally like to hear about their weaknesses, especially Pitta types. So Pitta is comprised of fire and water. And Pitta types can be warm, generous. They have a strong, beautiful gaze. They're usually very beautiful, physically beautiful. They're very driven and goal-oriented, and they're leaders. They're very smart, very bright, like the sun, like fire. However, Pitta types can get angry and sarcastic and caustic and critical, and they can be stubborn. And it's funny because when I teach all aspects of the doshas, usually students will admit their strengths. Oh yeah, I think I'm a Pitta because I'm a leader. But I'm not all that other stuff. It's necessary to admit all the other stuff because that part of that is basis for your healing. When you realize I have these shadow sides, I have a quick temper, or I do have impatience, or I am really stubborn, or I can be controlling, or I can have a tendency to get depressed. By knowing your shadow energies and your shadow sides and your greatest, deepest, darkest fears, and then going out to greet them, it diffuses their power. And there's lessons to be learned in our shadow energy. There's lessons to be learned in that. That's what you need to really understand. For me this week, it's been an interesting week when we think about full moon, Mercury retrograde, and Scorpio season. I have been attempting to have a social calendar that's a little more filled. As some of you know, I tend to be a bit of a workaholic. I am an extreme introvert. I love people, but I have a hard time with inserting social activities into my calendar. These past few weeks, I've actually made a concerted effort to insert social activities into my calendar. Well, with this full moon, Mercury retrograde, and Scorpio, mysteriously, those appointments on my social calendar have somehow disappeared. It's happened way more than once. It's happened more than twice. It's happened more than 3 times. And I don't take it personally at all. I find it kind of amusing, actually, that what are the chances that I make all these plans in the past few weeks, and more than half of the plans have fallen through for no apparent reason. It's uncanny. It's crazy. I know, like, again, I don't take it personally. I know it's not me. People have busy, busy, busy lives. Things go on. Things happen. It's just this season of you're not supposed to be going out. You're not supposed to have these social interactions as much as you have had before. You're not supposed to have all these distractions as you have had previously. You're supposed to be in a reflective and meditative state to face your shadows, to look at your shadows, to look at what are the things that I still need to take a look at that I haven't quite worked out yet. What are those things? And I found a couple of things myself. I mean, there were a couple things that came up for me. And, I'm going with it. I'm learning from it, of course. But this week in particular, it hasn't been anything as far as worry or concern or desperation or obsession or anything for me. None of that has happened this week. Actually, what has happened this week is I got physically sick. So I think I have some sort of virus the past 2 days, something like feverish and chills and, all that fun stuff. So it's a miracle I'm making this video for you today, guys, and I'm holding it together because I really don't feel very good. I felt it was necessary because of all the panicked messages that I have been receiving over the past several days. I want you guys to know that it's not you and it's not your twin. The universe is conspiring to create this environment for you to really dig deep and to go into the shadows, to go freely into the shadow energy. Just walk there. Go. Don't stay over here. Walk into the shadows. Figure out what's there. It's really not scary once you're there. It's enlightening, but it's not scary. And the other thing is, accept your shadows. Accept your shadow side. Now, this is another thing with the particularness of twin flames. This is something that's very special and very particular to the twin flame connection, is that our entire lives in relationships, in romantic partnerships, in romantic partnerships and romantic relationships, the one thing that many of us, most of us, I should say, have dealt with is that when it comes to our shadows, our romantic partner has not typically accepted that aspect of who we are. They have accepted our positive assets. They've accepted it when we are nice and kind and generous and when we're being good girls or good boys. They accept it. But when it comes to our shadows, we have tended to be rejected for who we are. And as a result, we have rejected ourselves in those shadow energies and who we are. Now, the beautiful part of the twin flame connection is that your twin flame loves you for your assets, the positive traits you possess, and they also love you for your shadow energy. They really do. And if you don't believe me, look to how you love your twin flame. Do you love them just for their positive traits and their assets, or do you love them for their shadows too? And so just look to that, because this is such a unique relationship in that for the first time in your life, perhaps, you won't be rejected for having a shadow side. Because for you personally, and for me, for all of us, what we need to do, to learn to do, is to accept our shadow energy, to embrace the shadow energy, to love the shadow energy. To say things like, I love it that I'm impatient. I love it that I can be stubborn sometimes. I love it that at times I don't feel worthy of being loved. I love that part of me. So it's about embracing and bringing it to you rather than trying to keep it hidden. Keep it hidden under a rock or under a rug or something like that. Because in this energy of Scorpio season, it doesn't allow you to do that. There's no brushing it under the rug. There's no hiding it under a rock. That's not happening. That is not happening. And we all know what happens when we tend to do that. When we're designed to learn a lesson and we're not getting it, we're just turning our head away from that lesson and we're distracting ourselves with something else. You know what happens. What happens is you will get a swift kick in the butt by your angels and guides. They will give you a swift kick in the butt. And you will be down for the count until you realize, course correction, maybe I'm supposed to see this. Maybe I'm supposed to realize this. So just know that, know that this is the perfect time for you to go within, to really explore those shadow energies, explore what that is for you. For everyone, it's going to be totally different. For everyone, it might be more painful for some than for others. And as I always say in my videos when I really talk about emotional development and emotional healing, and I write this in my books too, if something is too painful for you to confront, then please seek out a licensed therapist, psychotherapist, to talk about the areas of the shadows that are really difficult for you to handle on your own. I'm asking you to delve deep into this, but ask for help when you need it. That is the intelligent thing to do. It's a smart thing to do. And remember, as humans, we're interdependent on one another. We're not just living in a box, okay? We are interdependent on one another, so that I am not a licensed psychologist. I would say go seek out a therapist, a licensed psychologist, if it gets to be too much. And the thing is, all of us have wounds, and some of our wounds are much deeper and much darker than other people's wounds. Just know that. Now's the time to look into your shadows, but grab a therapist along the way if you need to, honestly. I just wanted to make sure that I cleared that air for you guys. Think about it, you guys. Get out of that Nine of Swords energy, honestly. And remember, in the reading, if you have not viewed my reading for this week that was posted on Sunday, go ahead and view that video. For the couple, it was this Nine of Swords energy this week. And like I said, I don't pick the cards. The cards come out as they come out. That's the energy that came out for the couple. Know that probably your divine masculine, if you are divine feminine watching this, your divine masculine is probably going through a similar situation where they're having to delve deeply into their shadow energy too, to kind of purge out the last bits of what needs to be purged out, but that's what's happening. So remember, run with your shadow, don't run away from your shadow, embrace it, don't push it away. It's the best way to move through it. And that's it. And then just embrace those aspects of who you are that are going to be less than 100% perfect. And that's just the way it's going to be. And the more you accept that, the more you accept yourself. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for subscribing to my channel below. Hit the bell for notifications and thumbs up. Thank you for sharing this video with other twin flames, and thank you so much for supporting this YouTube channel by buying a book or 2 or 3 and pledging your support on Patreon, www.patreon.com/Michelle S. Fondin, and I will see you in the next video.